A year ago, the flooding from Hurricane Helene swept western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and southwest Virginia. Whole communities were turned upside down. One of the places hit was McDowell County, North Carolina. Kevin Behm, a firefighter from Marion, was on duty as the floodwaters rose that night, and he's here to tell the story of what he saw and lived through. And it's another one of the stories of Appalachia.
We need to tell everybody about this, Steve, that we kind of opened up to let people go and tell the story about what happened during Hurricane Helene. And, we've already had one person that's at least going to be telling a story. And now we have the story of a first responder. And I think that's probably more in and of itself, even greater. A greater story about the things, the sacrifices and different things that had to take place. And this story about Kevin Behm is really, it hits home, of how closely you are tied to your community and how you're trying to get things done and trying to help and so forth. And I think people are in for a very, very interesting story.
It is a very interesting story, Rod, and this story isn't going to be told by either you or by me. Instead,
Right.
Folks, you'll hear from Kevin himself, sharing his experiences during Hurricane Helene and its immediate aftermath.
My name's Kevin Behm. I'm from Marion, North Carolina, and I work for Nebo Fire Department. The night before, or the night of the storm, I got off shift and I came home. And I probably took me about a 4-hour nap or so. I went back into work, and it was about midnight. We got our first little call. And then from there, about 5 a.m., it started running downhill. We started hearing our radio go off more and more. And it was coming in, tree down, tree down, tree down, swift water rescue in the city of Marion at the time. And we knew with us being on the outskirts of Marion that everything would eventually come downstream, so to speak, to Lake James area. I think about 6 a.m. we got our first call. We had a tree on a house just south of our district. Highway Patrol showed up first. They was able to get everybody out of the house safely. We was standing out in the middle of the road, 2-lane highway, and you could hear the trees starting to snap. They were starting to blow sideways. We eventually made it back to the station, and that's when we got a call on I-40, which is, we cover I-40 in our district. We had a tree down, went to it, and we was cutting it up. And when we was in the middle of cutting that tree up, I looked at my partner and I said, hey, they just came across the radio. They just gave the all call. You need to get back to your station. We're suspending all operations unless it's life-threatening at the time. We got back to our station and we sat there for about 4 hours while we listened to calls come in. When our system went down, we was about 105, 110 calls behind. At the time, all we could do was just sit, unless it was life-threatening. So after that, we hung around the station for a while until we got off that little suspension that we had. And we was looking through the back windows of the department. We could see the trees just starting to snap in half at the tops. They started falling. More radio calls started coming in. We were stuck at our station for about 12 to 24 hours. We had a medic unit with us. There was no way to get to Marion at the time, and no way to get to I-40. We were locked in. We had eventually was able to make it down US 70 to get to Marion. We got some equipment with the DOT, and I was taking a nap, and a lot of that's a blur. It really is, on how some of that went. It was interesting. It was interesting, to say the least, with everything that was coming out at the time, the reports we was getting, and just everything went black, honestly.
Did you all lose power at that time?
We had a backup generator, so at the fire department we did not. And what's interesting is our house here in Marion did not lose power. There was probably 3 streets through here that didn't. We was probably the 10% of McDowell County that did not lose power through the storm. And to get cell service, we had to go. Everybody was ended up going to the school across the street from the fire department, Nebo Elementary, and you would go over there and make a phone call, and you would get in touch with somebody. And it was hit or miss, but it worked. Honestly, it was on a scale that's hard to describe. I've seen, I believe it was Ivan that came through here years and years ago, and some others, but it was roadways. It was debris flows. We still have roads right now that are still not open, and just to that magnitude, it was something. You would drive maybe 500 feet, give or take, and you'd go around a tree. Go a little ways, drive around another tree. And for us, our biggest fear is a lake, and it had went over top the dam. I mean, it was a significant amount, and I think it crested at 110 feet. And I've seen 103, I've seen 102 in my line of work, but I've never seen 110. 110 really, it devastated a lot of the community. Marion, for the most part, besides the power, they were all right. There was a lot of water rescues that did go on, and we're only probably 10-15 minutes from Old Fort, and then another 20 minutes from Chimney Rock and Bat Cave down that way, down number 9. And if you went north or south of us, it was a whole different world. We ended up sending some crews from our department to Woodlawn and North Cove, and they assisted them for a week and helped out. Our biggest thing that helped us was we had crews come in from down east, North Carolina. We had Gibson Fire Department and Summerfield. They stayed at our station for 7 to 10 days and covered us. I would work my normal shift, and they would run the calls with me as help. We didn't have the help until they came.
How about your family? How did all that go with them?
Well, that's a good question. In the height of the storm, from about 6 a.m. up to that 6 p.m., I guess that 12 hours, I didn't know what was going at home. I didn't know how my wife was or my stepson. I didn't know how my dad was doing or my stepmom at the time. They live about 2 miles from my house. Once I was able to make it home and I knew my wife was okay and I was able to talk to my dad and my stepmom, I knew everything was good. But the communications part that went down, it left you wondering, because to be honest with you, at first you didn't think much of it. You was out there doing your role. And your biggest concern in the back of your mind was your family. And once I got confirmation they was good, I'm like, all right, it's time. We're going to go back to work and do what we need to do with the community. And we set up as a location as well, where we gave out water, food, necessities, and made a drive-through through the fire department, where we pulled our trucks out and you could drive through, and we would load your cars with water or the essentials that you needed at the time. With me, I observed a lot of people on edge. Every windstorm that came through, because fall we normally get wind through here. It's the Appalachian Mountains, especially through here.
They're on edge now?
I would say we're on edge now for the trees that have not fallen that are weakened, but number 2, right now, when we got to fall after Helene made landfall and we got through that and everything dried up, we started dealing with wildfires. We had a couple big ones up in Woodlawn, North Cove area, up in Fish Hatchery. And if anyone knows really where Fish Hatchery is, it's up 226A area. And it's like you took your hand and you laid every single tree on that ridge down. There was no tree standing. And you look to the ridge over to you, and every tree's standing. So the big thing that we have right now is the fire danger that's coming this fall or next spring. Everybody's kind of prepared themselves, department-wise, community-wise. That's what we're kind of prepared for now.
It's been a year. How are you looking at this, knowing that it's another hurricane season just about on us?
I'm keeping my eye on it. I really am. I'm looking at the different models that come out. It's hard to say, but it keeps you on edge. It really does. What happened was definitely, I hope, is once in a lifetime, but you're always on edge. I mean, we prepare, we build from what happened, and we just try to stay ready, honestly, and I don't know another way to put it.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell folks that are listening?
Well, honestly, Western North Carolina, we are open, so to speak. McDowell County did do that a while back, where they went around and said we are open business-wise. There are parts around here that are still they're hit hard. For the most part, what our county did was we said, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to work on our county, and when we get our county good and open, we're going to start working towards other places. And we're always sending our resources to another place to help them in this event. You know, we had departments from down east that helped us, and we do send resources down there to help them. It's a statewide thing. But all in all, through the whole event, I do want to say this, is it was a community that came together that helped each other. I mean, McDowell's made up of multiple communities, so is Buncombe, Madison, Avery, and Yancey. You would focus on Nebo or Marion or Glenwood, Old Fort. If somebody had a tarp, if somebody had a chainsaw or something, they would come out, they would help one another. That was pretty impressive to see. The community coming together overall was amazing before we had resources coming into the county, and that helped a lot. I do remember seeing the DOT rolling up I-40, and they were coming in truck by truck by truck, and it's a slow process, but we've gotten a lot better.
That was firefighter Kevin Behm of Marion, North Carolina, sharing his experience during the floods of Hurricane Helene, another one of the stories of Appalachia. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching. Till next time, y'all take care. So long, everybody.
So long.